Hi, I'm Kathy Berry, registered dietitian with the city's Fountain of Health Wellness Program. On today's show, we'll be talking to City Councilwoman Jan Markison at the City Market about buying organic. We'll be making a stir fry with colorful vegetables and organic chicken that we purchased at the City Market. We'll serve it up with a healthy grain called quinoa. If you haven't heard about quinoa, stay tuned to learn more about this healthy grain. Jan, look at all these beautiful fruits and vegetables at the City Market.
Well, they're just fantastic. I'll tell you, I really love coming down here because as a city council member, I don't have a lot of time to shop. And here I can get anything I want, and I'm hoping to find ways to make things quick so I can eat healthy and it won't take a lot of time when I get home from work.
Well, you came to the right spot, and stir fry is a wonderful way to make a really healthy, quick, nutritious meal that pretty much everybody enjoys.
That's great. Nutritious is the key because I have two granddaughters now, a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they love nutritious fruits. They love fruits and vegetables, so I want to make sure I'm giving them the right things when they come to my house.
That's awesome. That's great. When they start young, then they grow a healthy palate.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Well, so what is organic? What does that really mean to me?
The basics of organic is produced without pesticides and produced without synthetic fertilizers. Now, not every tomato and every ear of corn that you purchase locally is going to have the USDA seal of organic, but it is still very close to the earth and 98% organic, and it's just great to support your local farmers, even if they don't have that USDA seal of organic.
That's one thing I like the most about the City Market. Everything is from local vendors, local farmers, and that's always very healthy, very sustainable. If it's in line with the City Council priorities.
Absolutely. Well, one of my favorite things to make is stir fry because it's quick, it's simple, children like it. If you start children young with a healthy palate, eating fruits and vegetables, they grow to like it. And you can incorporate whatever is seasonal. One of my favorite things is baby bok choy, broccoli, locally grown mushrooms, and organic chicken, which is basically, produced without growth hormone or steroids, and we can get that all here.
That sounds delicious. I'd love to try it.
Well, we're going to make that later on in the show today, so you stick around. When we come back, we're going straight to the kitchen.
Hi, my name is Leah Darden, and I'm a fitness specialist over here at Fitness Source. The exercise we are going to perform now is called the bent over row. We're utilizing a couple different muscle groups at once, and all you have to really have is some dumbbells or water bottles or milk jugs, whatever you happen to have lying around. First, your feet are going to be about hip width apart, slightly wider than that. You're going to bend over, bending at the hips, making sure your head and chest are up. Your wrists are going to be facing one another, and you're really going to squeeze your shoulder blades on the way up and down. Really squeeze it. You really want to make sure you're breathing on the hardest part of the exercise. So exhale as you pull up, inhale as you go down. Really making sure you're squeezing those shoulder blades together, keeping those elbows in tight toward your torso. And making sure you're not cheating up with the legs. With this exercise, you're working not only your lower half of your body, but you're really getting those shoulders a good workout. And the upper back muscles. Remember, every time you come up, you want to squeeze the shoulder blades together, over-exaggerate the squeeze. It's not about how many you can do, it's about your form and focus. This next exercise that we're going to do, without a lot of equipment, is the plie squat. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure your legs are wider than the hips, have a little bit of a turnout in those feet, go straight down and straight up. Now with squats, you really want to focus on keeping those knees behind the toes and you're wanting to be in a seated position. So just like you're sitting in a chair, go straight down and straight up. With this particular exercise, you're again working your lower half of your body, your quads, your hamstrings. One of the reasons why I love this particular exercise is because it's simple and it's very easy on the joints. For more of a challenge, get low in that squat, only come up halfway and go straight back down. You're really getting your inner thighs with this as well. And if you want one more thing to do to challenge you even more, go ahead and grab a hand weight or a water bottle, whatever you happen to have lying around. And of course, don't forget to breathe.
So let's take some of these great ingredients that we got at our local farm market and let's make a wonderful stir fry. We're going to start with some nice sesame oil. Sesame oil is really nice for Asian dishes. Look how dark and colorful and rich that is. It gives it a beautiful flavor. Very nice. And to that, we're going to add some ginger. If you've never cooked with fresh ginger, this is what it looks like. You just chop it up fine like you would garlic, and sometimes I even put it in my garlic press. So that's what it looks like. We've got a nice big, I would say, tablespoon, and that is delicious stuff. And to that, we're also going to add some garlic. So let's give these guys a good whack and get those in the pan. Once again, you can use jarred garlic. I really prefer fresh, and when you can get in the summertime, it's just good. I just think it's sweeter and more buttery than the kind that's in the jar. That's my personal preference. So let's get that in there. You really can't have too much garlic in my book. We'll get that happy. And to that, we're going to add some onions. Now, the way that I'm going to do this is the way that I like to prepare stir fry, is I like to get the garlic and the onions and the ginger all married well, doing a little meet and greet in the pan. And then I like to get that sauteed and I like to plate it in the bowl. And then I add the chicken and then I add the vegetables. I don't cook them all together because I don't want anything to get overdone or mushy. I want everything to be bright and fresh and flavorful. So that's the way I do it. So let's get those working their magic. And once they get a nice saute and sizzle, then we'll add the chicken. Now, I will tell you, we purchased some nice local chicken that is antibiotic-free and hormone-free. I personally don't think I need to eat antibiotics and hormones. I think I make plenty of those on my own. So we have some really good free-range, fresh local chicken that we're using as well. Doesn't that look good? You know, garlic and ginger have some really good properties for your heart, as do onions. So every vegetable that you eat is really filled with lots and lots of phytochemicals, and there are thousands of phytochemicals that have amazing antioxidant properties. They fight off cancer. We only specifically know about what 200 do, but there are thousands. So the more vegetables, the more color you add to your diet, the more powerful your immune system is. So, you know, every time you add some more vegetables to your diet, you know, you're just shoring up your immune system. And that's a good thing. Well, that's looking pretty good. I also wanted to share with you what we're going to serve this with. We're going to make this with some quinoa. Now, if you've not tried quinoa before, quinoa is a very simple grain. This is what it looks like when it's uncooked. It's just a small, little, humble grain, and you cook it like you would cook any grain. 1 part grain, 2 parts water. Very simple. It's very bland, so if you'd like to prepare it in some vegetable broth or chicken broth, That's great. And this is what it looks like when it's cooked. Now, the thing that's so great about quinoa, it's a new to our country grain, but it is a very old and ancient grain. And we're going to talk about why that's so good for us. But first, let's get our wonderful smelling mirepoix into the bowl. And then we will add our chicken. All right, so a little bit more. Now I'm going to add that all back and stir it up together. I just don't want it to get overcooked. So now let's add our nice free-range chicken. I have about a pound here. This would easily feed 6 people because we're going to add things to it that are very filling and high in protein as well. So don't think that everyone at your table needs to have 4 to 6 ounces of animal protein. You can really reduce the amount of animal protein you eat and then add more other things that have protein in them and are very filling. So let's get that cooking. All right, now back to our quinoa. This little humble grain is originally from Bolivia, South America, and it is a very ancient grain. And the legend and the story has it that Bolivia was a powerhouse of South America centuries and centuries ago, and they attributed the strength of their army to this humble little grain called quinoa. You spell it Quinoa, and it's pronounced quinoa, and there's red quinoa and there's white quinoa. We just have some regular white quinoa. The reason that this grain is so good for you is perhaps the Bolivians were right in that this grain has more protein than any other grain. For example, a half a cup of quinoa has 5 grams of protein, whereas a half a cup of brown rice has only 1 or maybe 2. So it really is a very nutritious grain, and it also has a lot of fiber. That's not to say that you can substitute it for, a half a cup of quinoa is not like a half a cup of chicken, but it does have more protein and more nutrients than your traditional rice or barley or a potato for that matter. So really good grain and very delicate flavor. You can marry it with a lot of different flavors. It makes a beautiful salad in the summertime with mango, red pepper, black beans, nice little vinaigrette. So you can also prepare it with fresh fruit. And so it's just really, really versatile and very nutritious. So we tend to overgrain ourselves with wheat in this country, so this is a really nice opportunity for you to just try another grain and add some more nutrients to your diet. All right, our chicken is done. So we're going to put that in the pan, the big bowl. That is looking delicious. And to that pan, we will toss in some mushrooms. And while those are cooking, let's talk about some baby bok choy. Now, this is baby bok choy. You can't get these every place and you can't find them all the time. So when you do, I would highly suggest to give them a try. They just have a beautiful crunch and a really good flavor. You can get a big bok choy, but I really like these little guys. So how I prepare them is I just slice off the top, slice off the bottom. Pretty simple, and then just slice them up. And I use it all. I use the green leaves, I use the stem. It makes a great addition to your stir fry. And you can add anything to a stir fry, really. That's part of the reason why it's so nice, is because you don't have to, have a big shopping list and find bok choy and carrots and red pepper. I mean, you can use what you have, what's fresh. So that's a really versatile dish. So now that our mushrooms are looking nice, I like mushrooms. They have a really steaky kind of flavor. They're really healthy for you, lots of fiber. So let's put those in our dish. And now let's add these beautiful vegetables that we have here. We've got some sugar snap peas, which are delicious, raw, sauteed, they're wonderful. Got some red pepper. Red pepper's really high in vitamin C. Really good infection fighter. And then we have soy. This is called edamame. This is what they look like. You can get them in the Japanese restaurant in a pod and you just kind of pull them out, but this is what they look like out of the pod. These are just soybeans. And I just read a really good article in one of my dietitian magazines about there's more and more research that soy actually reduces the risk of some cancers. And it also reduces your LDL levels. Remember, your LDL is the bad part of your cholesterol that's kind of responsible for laying down plaque. So good nutrition. Look how pretty that is. It's like Christmas in your pan. Okay, we're going to let that simmer a little bit, saute a little bit. As you can see, we don't really need to add any more oil. It's doing very nicely on its own. While these vegetables are sauteing a little bit, let me tell you about this sauce that we prepared. This is one of my favorite things to prepare because it's all things that you have in your kitchen all the time. So what it is we've got some healthy peanut butter. Healthy peanut butter in my world means no trans fats and no high fructose corn syrup. So we've got some healthy peanut butter. We've got some low sodium soy sauce, or you can use Bragg's. It's an amino acid kind of sauce that's delicious. And we have some a little bit of rice wine vinegar. And then we've got the sriracha sauce, which gives it a little kick. And you need a little kick with all these good vegetables. Now, if you do not have the sriracha sauce, you can use red pepper flakes. Those will work just fine. So when you get your pizza delivered, hang on to that little packet of red pepper flakes, and you can throw it in your stir fry. So our baby bok choy is bok choying along. And we are ready to add all these ingredients back in here. It's pretty simple. See how I didn't want to add them all together at the beginning because then they would kind of get too overdone, kind of mushy. So there we have it. Look at that. That's beautiful. And look at how much. Plenty enough for a family of 6. 1 pound of chicken. It's got soy, it's got mushrooms. We're going to add this great sauce that also has a little bit of protein in the peanut butter. It's very filling. And then we're going to serve that with some quinoa. So it's definitely a very hearty dish. So let's add this. Perfect. Now, if you think that your sauce is a little too thick, you can always add some water or vegetable broth or chicken broth, whatever you like, if you think it's a little bit too thick. But the vegetables and the chicken will absorb it nicely. So don't worry about it. You can microwave that sauce, or you can, to blend it all together, or you can just stir it up with a fork and get it all blended together. Ours was at room temperature. So that's how we did it. Oh boy. I really like that peanut sauce. If you don't care for peanuts or you have a nut allergy, you can just use a regular soy sauce. And another good little addition to your sauce would be some hot pepper jelly. That will give it some heat. And it'll give it that nice salty soy sauce. So if you're not a fan of nuts, you can experiment and make your own from scratch. But a lot of times you've got things at home in your pantry that you can make a really good sauce from. You don't have to purchase a special sauce. So that's looking good. So let's plate this up with some quinoa, and you're in for a beautiful treat. All right, so our stir fry is ready. And we have our nice little quinoa over here. So we're going to plate this up. And our film team really wants to try this. So I can tell you it's delicious and it smells wonderful. So as you can see, this is a big, big, beautiful dish. It's pretty, it's colorful, it's really nutritious. So there you have it, a great way to add more vegetables to your diet that are local, farm to table. They're easy to prepare and very healthy for you. You can find these recipes at kcmo.org/wellkc. I'm Kathy Berry, your dietitian from the Fountain of Health. Thank you for taking care of yourself through healthy living and healthy eating.